Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. One's going to be about Cardano and a big move that they've got coming for security on their blockchain. And then the second one is going to be about the new Trump budget. So we'll dive into that stock heat map. Is it quiet? I'm getting my mic is reading. So Jesse, do you hear me? Cause my mic's picking up. So I don't know on that low sound. Let me see if I can adjust the gain on that, because the gain's all the way up in my software. So is that a little bit better there? I might have to go into my NVIDIA broadcast and kind of do something then. I do have that stock heat map pulled up, so we can dive on into that, and you can let me know how that sound is sounding. All right, we do have Apple sitting up just a bit from its close on Friday, up 1.59, and in the pre-market is sitting down 1.28. We've got NVIDIA sitting up 1.59. In the pre-market, sitting down just a little bit, down 1.28. We've got Berkshire Hathaway sitting down 0.45, and in the pre-market, sitting down 0.93. We've got Amazon sitting down 0.72, and the pre-market sitting down 1.51. We've got Eli Lilly is sitting down 4.73 from its close on Friday, and the pre-market is sitting in that neutral range, down 0.18. We got ExxonMobil sitting up 1.3, and that pre-market sitting down in that neutral range, down 0.2. We've got Tesla sitting down 0.3 from its close, and the pre-market getting hit a little bit hard right now, down 2.97. We've got P&G is sitting up 0.74, and the pre-market is sitting in that neutral range, 0, 0, 0, no change. We've got Microsoft is sitting up, down 0.9, and the pre-market also sitting down 1.01. We've got Google sitting up 0.88 from its close, and the pre-market also getting hit a little hard, down 1.41. And to wrap that on out, we have Meta sitting in that neutral range on its close, down 0.36, and the pre-market sitting down 1.73. Let's hop over to that crypto side of things. We are looking at quite red for the morning, which is not kind of the direction we wanted to see. I know I saw a little panic across the space after we hit some of those lower levels, and I know I've talked about it here. I've still got a limit order set at like 72,000. So I was not overly worried about the damp, but I do still think we might be able to find some bottoming here as we get a little bit lower. We got Bitcoin sitting down 3%. We've got Ethereum down 1.6. We've got XRP sitting down at 3.1. We've got BNB sitting down 2.2. We've got Cardano sitting down at 4.1. We've got Solana sitting down at 6.2. Doge sitting down 5.6. We've got Tron sitting down 2.4. Pi Network still making some gains, up 1.6. We've got Leo token sitting in that neutral range, up 0.07. We've got Chainlink sitting down at 4.1. HBAR sitting down at 2.5. We've got Stellar Lumens down 0.9. We've got Avalanche down 5.8. We've got Sui sitting down at 2.6. Shiba Inu sitting in the green, up 1.1. We've got Litecoin sitting down 1.8. And to wrap that top 20 out, we've got Bitcoin Cash sitting down 1.5. Let's hop over to those fear and greeds and liquidation heat map before we dive into that economic calendar. We don't have a lot going on for today, but we will have some heavy data drops coming out the rest of the week. For that stock side of things, we are sitting in extreme fear still. We are at 19 points. Kind of expected, as we do see that market opening up in almost absolute sell-off across the board. We do have crypto still sitting in that extreme fear, down 7 points as we approached that CME gap all over again this weekend. We'll kind of touch on that once we get over to that Bitcoin chart. For that liquidation heat map, let me zoom that in. There we go. We got a lot of liquidity sitting to the top side of us on this daily chart, right above us at 84,288, and then we've got a broad ranging hotspot to the top side starting at 86,000 and coming all the way down to 85, almost 300 there. That's a nice broad range for us to move back up and clear out. We do have a bit more to the top side on some of these higher term time frames as well. Zoom this on out to that 3-day, and you've got that hot spot sitting up at about 87,200. We could easily go up and grab that. If we can have that money flow come on in, I do think we need to clear out some of that bottom side liquidity on that really high term time frame though. Zoom that on out to the 2-week. You can kind of see that hotspot is once again back up in that 96,000 range. We do have that area that we will need to turn into some support right above 90,000. So that would be that first little move to kind of watch for if we want to get back bullish. Let's zoom that on out to the 3-month so you can see the liquidity I was talking about to the bottom side. As you can see right here, we've got a lot of liquidity sitting at $72,000. There also is another hotspot sitting at 76,800. So a few little areas to the bottom side to go down and grab on these higher term time frames. You've got about 200 million sitting right below us at that $72,000 mark. That's right around where I have my limit order set. Definitely an easy move to kind of grab if you're going to come down here and clear out this CME gap that we're sitting right on top of. Let's say good morning to the chat before we really dive too far into that Bitcoin chart. We've got Crypto Billy in the chat. I dropped a link to his morning motivational video, which was quite in line with something I was talking to Crypto Coin Mindset about this past weekend. So I really love that, Billy. You've been dropping videos that seems to be right along the lines of what I've been talking to people about quite a bit. So I love that. I love that. Love starting the day off with that. I hope the mic sounds a little bit better. I'm seeing it pick up a little bit better. So hopefully it's quite a bit better than it was at the start of the show. I know I was only hitting that green mark. We've got Indie Rock Crypto in the house. We've got All Set and maybe a Band-Aid. We've got maybe a Band-Aid saying, got caught out in the rain during my morning run. Still standing here dripping in my office at the moment. Hey, that's another great way to start the day. Sorry you kind of got rained on for it, but hopefully you were a little more motivated to run a little quickly, because that would motivate me to really get moving on that. We got Al Jr. saying, good morning, beautiful people. Is that bot over here too? LFG damp it. I think we're going a little bit lower. So we'll dive into that one in a second. I'm not sure what you mean on the bot. Only had it on the other chat. So I just moved it to live chat. Maybe we'll see what you're talking about. We've got Al Jr. in saying, Billy, your bot and had me awaken on eggshells. Oh, walking on eggshells. Maybe that's what you were talking about there. We've got Jay Violet in the chat. Good morning, good morning. And Let's see. Kelly L in here as well. Good morning to you. Mic is good now. BC adjustment worked. Awesome. I like that it has I've got a little knob here that I can kind of just turn things up on if it is ever too low. Sometimes when I turn the PC off, it just kind of resets the mic though. I don't know why it does that, but at least it works. So much better than that headset, and I actually feel like I can hear things and I'm not all distracted by the headset. It was always kind of annoying. All right, we got this daily look pulled up, and as you can see here, it does look like we are getting to a point where we can start to try to find some support here. We do have a bunch of data drops that will be coming out. Today is kind of clear of data. We do have some more data coming out later in the week, though. That will be that JOLTS jobs opening tomorrow. That's kind of why I skipped over to the economic calendar for today. The big one for today is going to be that GDP coming out of Japan this evening. So something to watch for. You do have the MACD and the prime oscillator looking like they have a little bit more room to come to the downside here. You've got your you've got your MACD sitting under our indicator line, getting a little bit of curvature here as we are kind of doing a little bit of battle with our CME gap. Your prime oscillator is sitting in the red here as we are coming a little bit more down. Your volume is heavy red on some selling volume, and your money flow is also continuing to come out. So looking a little bit bearish here on the daily term time frame. The CME gap is a broad range here, coming in from the top side at 81,200 and all the way down to about almost 77,300. It really depends on what kind of chart you were looking at. I think it was 245, if I'm not mistaken, on that exact one, the exact bottom on that CME gap. So that's that range that we're kind of looking at closing here. If we do come all the way down into that, there is that golden pocket, which is sitting right below it. And again, right below that, there's all of this liquidity, which is residing at $72,000. So if you're going to come in and close out the CME gap and approach this golden pocket, these market makers are probably going to push it a little bit lower and try to take out that bottom side liquidity. It is kind of a bearish move to see on these higher term time frames, but it definitely allows for this giant liquidity switch from the red to the green. You would see a bit of some money flow coming back in here at these lower levels. No one really wants to see it. Your alts are going to be in ugly positions, but this is why I mainly hold Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is like 70% of my portfolio. When Bitcoin goes down, these giant percentages, so from the top here, sitting at that 109,000, coming all the way down to this golden pocket, that's just a 32% retracement. That's half of what we used to do in old cycles, where you now have alts that are sitting down like 70%. This is why I'm heavily Bitcoin loaded, and I am looking for that bottom side, and that's why I've got that limit order set down here at $72,000. Hoping for that sweep of the liquidity on the bottom side before we really get that push back to the top side. We will kind of have to see how these shorter term time frames are looking. We've got that 4 hour looking like it's getting a little bit of some curvature to the upside here, but you do have your money flow staying in the red, your volume's in the red too, and that as that prime oscillator gets that reversal signal and that move back up towards the top side, it is sitting in the light red. So not overwhelmingly positive here. As we try to get back up to some of the lows that we had seen up here, we do see a lot of selling pressure above us, trying to get back down and close that CME gap. This is a very juicy buying range, and it's kind of a juicy buying range underneath the CME gap as well. So kind of looking for a brief reprieve here on the 4 hour. We will kind of have to see if that money flow keeps us moving either sideways or if we end up heading back down. Let's zoom that on in to the hourly. We do have a bit of an overheating on the prime oscillator as we've been getting this sideways move on top of our CME gap here. You can see our prime oscillator is extremely green and getting some curvature back to the bottom side. Your money flow is sitting heavily red here as well. Your volume is trying to overpower a lot of that outward money flow, but it is not doing a very good job of that. You do have your MACD looking a little bit sideways here as it is getting some slight curvature here on the 1 hour. So looking for that rollover again and across that indicator line to the bottom side underneath the 0 line. Things are looking pretty bearish on all of these higher term time frames. Zoom this on into the 15-minute. And that's where you can really see that we're doing a bit of some sideways ranging here. You do have your MACD moving quite sideways with our indicator line here. You can see it moving quite in tandem as it's going quite sideways, flipping red to green on these candles, really trying to maintain this range here. It does kind of cool off these oscillators, but with the way that the money flow is looking, it kind of looks like a cool off for a stronger move to the downside. We'll kind of have to keep our eyes on this. Going into the week, we do have some bearish data that will be dropping, not today, but the potential for some bearish data coming out tomorrow and Wednesday as well. Wednesday's going to be the really big data drop day. You do have this 15-minute looking like you could potentially get another pushback up to the highs of this range. With that 84,000, there is very strong resistance above us at 85, about 200 there. That's that first little area we will need to get above, confirm as some support before we try to get back up to our 382, sitting at that 87,000 mark. And that's where we also saw a bit of liquidity. That was that kind of top side before we really moved on down back to this CME gap. Let's see. Kelly L., do you think the stock market will see any relief soon, or are we in for long-term downside? Seems like BTC goes down when the S&P does. Well, and that's something that we do talk about a bit, quite a bit here at the Piper Academy, that you can't just look at crypto through a crypto lens. You have to look at the broader economy. And with the way that things have been going right now, I do believe that there might be a little more downside on the stock market as well. You might see your few outliers, which I've talked about here. You've got your energy sector, which has been doing all right. You've got your health sector, which has been pretty resilient. You know, something that everyone always continues to need whenever they're in recessionary periods is their health. So a lot of those companies will continue to do well. You know, people still need their food. A lot of those companies will be a little more resilient in that downward trend. So it's kind of just where you're going to put your money there. It's sometimes you just have to hold that money and wait for those opportunities. Investing and trading is sometimes waiting, and having no position is actually a position. Sometimes you need to sit on the sideline like Berkshire Hathaway is, and you need to sit on a bunch of money and wait for those good buying opportunities to really head your way. Got a username saying, BC, don't worry, I'm here. Fashionably late there, username. I'm glad you were able to make it this morning. Dropping that rib chat in there. I'm dropping some rib emojis for you. Hope y'all are having a great day. I see Randy in the chat as well. Good morning to you. I see Robert Mulligan in here. Good morning, Robert Mulligan. Hope you're having a great Monday. All right. I hope I answered that question for you, Kelly L. But for now, I'm kind of looking at some continued downside on the TradFi as well as in crypto. You know, the current state of affairs in our economy kind of leads me to think more downside. And I'm not the only one that's really been thinking so. You've got quite a bit of smart money that has been buying up those midterm and long-term bonds. So that's something I've been keeping my eye on. You also have you have a little bit of money flowing to some other currencies to invest in those European stocks. So following some defense spending by Germany. We got GOP government funding plan set up clash with Democrats. This is something that hasn't been talked about quite a bit, but we did get to a point where we might have seen a government shutdown with furloughed employees. And we're kind of knocking right back on that door, coming out with another short-term plan. So Republicans are charging ahead with a proposal endorsed by President Trump that could keep the government funded into the fall while reducing spending, setting up a clash with Democrats already steaming over sharp cuts to federal jobs and programs. The proposal, if it clears the vote in the House as soon as Tuesday, and then the Senate would avoid a government shutdown next weekend and keep federal agencies funded through September 30th. The House measure lowers the amount of non-defense discretionary spending by $13 billion from the 2024 funding level, while increasing the amount of money for defense spending by about $6 billion. It also boosts funding for the border enforcement. Military spending funding is meant to win over the defense hawks who have rejected past short-term measures that they said have underfunded the U.S. military. Party leaders have expressed confidence that they will be able to pass the measure in the House, despite intra-party fighting that has forced them to rely heavily on Democrats on past funding votes, a regular embarrassment for party chiefs. While House Democrats appear largely united in opposition, saying the measure cedes too much power over spending to the White House, Republicans will need almost every GOP lawmaker to stay in line due to their narrow 218 to 214 majority. Representatives for the House Republican leaders said that they worked closely with Trump in crafting the bill, and House Speaker Mike Johnson said that he has enough votes to pass the measure. Trump urged Republicans to back the proposal, termed a continuing resolution or CR. He said on Truth Social that the GOP has put together, under the circumstances, a very good funding bill. He added no dissent. Speaking to reporters Sunday evening, Trump said he thinks the measure is going to get passed. We'll see. Funding for federal agencies runs out on Friday night. With no new legislation, many federal employees would be furloughed, while others would continue to report to work with no pay. And normally when you see the government shut down or get furloughed, you do see a little boost in your stocks. So might be a little bit of a TradFi play there to see if this doesn't get passed. You might see a little bit of a boost to the stocks as the government isn't there to kind of meddle with things. It is normally seen as a short-term bullish on your stocks. We will kind of have to see how this goes forward. You know, it did talk later in the article about the tax cuts that he wants to do. And so that might be the kind of clenching vote on whether this gets passed or whether it doesn't. We'll kind of have to keep our eyes out for the rest of the week to kind of see if we see a government shutdown, which everyone always talks about and they're all worried about. And I'm not too worried about it. I do think that the budget that they've been doing over and over and over again of kicking the can down the road doesn't work. And these fights are kind of useless if you're not actually going to make a change. And none of these people actually want to make a change. The reason that you see all of these dissenting votes is that someone isn't happy that their constituents are getting the money that they want. And instead of worrying about more money to be spent, they need to worry about spending less money. All right, let's hop into this next article. Let's see what was being said. Shut it down, says RustyBot. I agree. Shut it down. Shut it down until it's at a point where things can actually change. The federal government has a lot of overreach, and I'm okay with some regulatory bodies that weren't voted for or kind of less than constitutional being shut down. So I'm okay with it. We've got Kelly L says, I'm already in. Lol. Time to buy, says Crypto Billy to Kelly L. So that's what that one was about. We've got, yes, Billy knows. We got Randy. News been good for crypto. Hopefully price follows. Yeah, and that's where I think we just need to find that bottom. You know, that whole crypto summit last week was very underwhelming. So not a whole lot of positive news coming out of that front. But I did have some articles that I will touch on later in the week. I kind of wanted to touch on these biggies for the beginning of the week. There was that budget that will be talked about a lot this week, as we might see that government shutdown. And then I saw a big news article for Cardano. So big win for Cardano, says top ADA contributor about a new AI partnership. Cardano has partnered with Checkpoint, a cybersecurity giant, in a move that could redefine how blockchain networks defend against threats. Unlike the usual patchwork of pre-deployment audits and reactive measures, this initiative introduces real-time AI-driven security, something that blockchain desperately needs but is rarely implemented effectively. This alone makes a partnership intriguing, as the task is really a heavy one. Let's be real, the problem has never been innovative. Blockchain technology is evolving at an impressive pace. Rather, security has always been the Achilles heel of the industry, built on a trustless system. Every year, billions of dollars disappear into the hands of hackers. Every year, enterprises hesitant getting into crypto, weighing the risk against rewards. It is not the potential of blockchain that keeps them from diving in. It is the fear of losing everything in a single exploit. And it is not sophisticated. Remember Bybit's recent $1.5 billion loss. And this is a big partnership that we will kind of have to see how it plays out, because the partnership structure is simple. Checkpoint is bringing in expertise in threat intelligence, while Cardano provides the blockchain infrastructure. Together, they are integrating a system designed not just to identify risk, but to actively neutralize them before they cause damage. The collaboration has made possible through Project Catalyst, Cardano's community-driven initiative, which saw overwhelming support for real-time security solutions. With funding secured and development underway, could this be the shift blockchain needs to become truly enterprise-ready? The Cardano community certainly thinks so and sees the partnership as a big win. If this partnership delivers on its promise, it could be a turning point for ADA, a network that can guarantee security in real time that changes the equation. And this is something I'm quite excited to see. ADA has been a little bit of a laggard. It has moved quite slow, though, which is a great thing to see in a space where everyone wants to move quick and break things and drag more money in there. ADA wants to do it right, and this is just another sign in ADA wanting to do things right. So definitely a positive for the ADA community. RustyBot says, I'm also an ADA holder. I used to be an ADA holder. It made me a lot of money that last cycle. It's kind of underperformed right now. I still believe in ADA because it has great utility, but I did think that there would be time for me to hop into ADA if it kind of proved to itself that it was gonna make some big changes in the space and kind of move forward. And these are the articles that I've been waiting for to kind of see if ADA would get back to that spot in my portfolio. We got Silver Days XRP in the chat. Good morning to you. Username saying, okay, I thought BC had a change of heart and loves memes. No, never, username. Your memes are trash, and they will always be trash. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Someone has to say it. Meme coins take money away from real projects, says Randy. Most definitely. It's a it's a giant problem in the crypto space. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have the right to buy a meme, but I am saying that the overprevalence of memes has made it a lot harder for projects like Cardano to kind of get to these points a little bit quicker. Cardano might have been able to move faster if everyone wasn't chasing the gains off like coins like Mumu and whatever new dog coin came out. So we'll kind of have to watch. We got Crypto Billy saying +1 for ADA. Most definitely. I'm very happy about this news. It is a big part of the crypto space to kind of see security being taken into a more important role, especially when you did see things like that Bybit hack just happening this past month. So definitely big moves in the crypto space. Does anyone have any alt requests they'd like me to take a look at today? I've got plenty of time to do that. I was looking at the dollar this morning because it's been continuing that trend to the downside I've been talking about for quite a while. We are approaching that 102.93 point that I was talking about last week, and we're doing it with some strength here. This is that 1 week chart pulled up. I've been looking more at some of the macro trends because it does look like you might be seeing some continued downside on more of these higher term time frame charts. And then if you zoom it on in just a little bit, you might see those brief reprieves at those key levels I have talked about. That 102.93 being that first bouncing point on a shorter term time frame. Looking at that daily chart, you do see us come into a point where you might see a brief little bounce. You are getting some curvature here on our prime oscillator with some oversold signals flashing. Not getting any real good strong reversal signals though. Seeing those oversold signals flash, that reversal signal flashed back up here, reversal signal flash back up here, and they've been very brief reprieves for the dollar. Looking for some continued bottom side as you do see this curvature on your prime oscillator back to the upside, but it's staying in that strong red. I see Athena, SWE, and ZBCN requested. So let's get those added to the list. Athena, Zebek, SWE, and I see Pepe as well. God, username, you and your alts. ZBCN and Pepe. All right. Any other alt requests, go ahead and drop those in the chat for me. I see John Foster Crypto asking for Ondo and Jesse talking about IP. All right. I can definitely take a look at both of those as well. Got Ondo and IP. All right. Got those added to the list. Thank you, BC. Have a nice day, fam. I hope you have a great day as well. All set. Let's see what we've got going for these shorter term time frames on the dollar. I was looking at that 1 hour. This is where you're also seeing some continued downside for the dollar as we are approaching that zero line over and over again. We do see us getting rejected once again. We have been moving quite sideways underneath this 236 here. That's that 104 level, which we tried to make a few brief pushes back up to, and we continue to make some lower highs here. So even on this hourly, looking quite bearish for the dollar, as you do see that prime oscillator looking straight to the downside. You do have some nice volume here on the 1 hour. Looking for that little bounce at 102.93 to see a last little kind of pushback up towards that 236 and 104.53. I was also looking at some gold. Let's hop over to that. There we go. Got that gold chart pulled up for you. Oh, it's on the line there. I'm not trying to look at it on the line. We want those candles. All right, got those candles pulled back up. I was taking a look at some money flow charts earlier, so kind of messed with my other charts. All right, let's get that daily pulled up for you and zoom it on in just a bit. Zoom it on in, zoom it on in, and here we go. You can kind of see we have been rejecting off of that golden pocket on a Fibonacci extension. I've been talking about that level quite a bit. It is a strong level of resistance for gold. That's 2,930, and it looks like we're going to try to come back down here to make a higher low on gold and try to really continue back to the upside. If we do make a lower low than this last low down here at 2,834, it would look like a break of trend, and you would kind of have to find a new bottoming before we continue this trend to the upside. I have been looking for a nice strong bounce here at about that 236 and 2,889. I do have a level drawn from right below that, which is 2,885, which you might see that wicking action down to. It was one of the candle body tops from back here in February. Zoom this on in to that 1 hour, and you can kind of see here we are looking for our bottom. That's why I was looking at that 236. We do have your prime oscillator looking like it has a little bit more room to run to the downside here on the hourly. Same with the MACD, but you are starting to see that volume switching from selling volume to some buying volume here, as your money flow is also trying to maintain some of that green. It is sitting right at that point though where a brief switch over could really have some money flow coming on out, but this volume being light green here could really hold us up quite nicely at that 236 bounce at 2,889. Gold is one of those inflation resistant assets, so looking for some strength after all-time highs on gold. Seeing some strong retracements to these key levels is a healthy move to see. It kind of brings back that opportunity of some buying pressure, because people were very nervous to buy gold at that almost $3,000 mark. But for the long term, seeing gold at these levels, which might continue to go quite a bit higher, is some nice buying ranges. All right, let's hop into some of these alt requests. We had Athena, Sweet, Zebek, Pepe, Ondo, and IP. Let's hop over to Athena. Let's get that pulled up. I don't have that on my list, so let's get that pulled up. Athena. I'm not sure on what exchange you were wanting that. I don't think it's on Coinbase, so let's take a look at it on, I guess, OKX. USD though. I don't know why it's in all the other currencies. United Arabs. Where is it in US dollars? It's gotta be here somewhere. Athena. I'm not seeing it in US dollars. So USD Athena. I guess I do have it on my list. There we go. Sitting in a fair value gap. How to continue typing that one out. We got us in the 4 hour looking for a continued move to the upside. Do have that prime oscillator sitting a light red, but it might just be a nice little brief rejection back at that 50-cent mark, which was a range from all the way back here before we really got that strong move to the upside. We have been playing around in this fair value gap, and it looks like it is still open to that bottom side. So looking like you might see a brief little rejection off of that top side at about 449.54, almost 50 cents there. Let's zoom this on in to our 1 hour, see where we're already seeing that curvature back to the bottom side on our MACD and our prime oscillator here. as we are playing around in this fair value gap. You do have the platinum pocket, which is sitting right below us. 44,108 would be a brief little bouncing point to kind of see here from that higher term time frame, but it does look like you would continue back down. The midline of this fair value gap is 41, about 41 and a half cents there. So that'd be another point to kind of see if you can maintain this top side of our fair value gap. If you are unable to maintain this top side of the fair value gap, look at having it closed, because we came so close to closing it here. As you can kind of see, there's still a little bit of some price action to the bottom side. We have been making some higher highs and higher lows, but that trend might be reversing here just briefly as we try to close that fair value gap out. You do have that 15-minute looking like it's trying to find some strength here at this platinum pocket. Continue to make those higher highs and higher lows, and looking for that money flow to really come back in here. You have your volume being some light selling volume here, but your prime oscillator is getting some nice little curvature, and the MACD is getting some nice curvature here on the top side here on the 15-minute. So looking for that money flow to kind of continue on up to the top side of our fair value gap. Would look for either that rejection or the break above and turning it into some support. With how that higher term time frame was looking at, this does look like it's going to be a bit of a resistance area before we come back down. All right, Athena, let's take a look at SWE. I've got that one on my list there. Let's scroll on up to SWE. We are sitting right below that platinum pocket here, looking to try to find some strength. Let's zoom this on out to that 4-hour, kind of see what we're seeing on these higher term time frame charts. You do have that prime oscillator looking like you might need to see another reversal signal kind of flash before we get that strong move back up above our platinum pocket. Your prime oscillator is sitting light red as it's getting that curvature back up. Your volume is still some selling volume here. So really waiting for that switch of money flow to really come in overwhelmingly positive here. Platinum pocket does look like it might be a brief resistance area. That's that $2.41 point. Your MACD is getting some strong curvature here. Your candles are starting to lighten up here on the 4-hour, but we'll kind of have to see how some of these shorter term time frames look. You might get that brief bounce back up. You've got a bit of an area of about 255 where you can see some resistance if we get above that platinum pocket there. You have this 1-hour starting to look a bit overheated as we are trying to push back up to this platinum pocket. Your volume is very, very heavily buying volume here, but your prime oscillator is getting extremely overheated as we make that move to the upside, making some brief higher lows here, but really bouncing up against some resistance right below this platinum pocket. MACD's also getting a bit of some curvature there on your on that indicator line to come back down to the downside, seeing some brief bounces towards the top side, but that platinum pocket looks like some strong resistance. Let's zoom that on in to the 15-minute, kind of see what we're seeing there. Are sitting very red on our prime oscillator. You got some divergences that are stacked up here as we continue to approach the platinum pocket over and over again. Does look like you might see that be that next strong rejection point all over again. 15-minute getting a brief break above our indicator line on the top side, but it's getting a bit of some curvature there. So it does look like a brief move to the upside before you continue to see a little bit of some downside action. On our short-term time frame, will be dependent on that Bitcoin price action though. Seeing a move back to the top side to grab some of that daily liquidity on Bitcoin could kind of drag some of these projects up just a bit. we do have some ugly data that might be dropping this week. We'll dive into that one in tomorrow's show, because today's data is very weak. So we had ZBEC requested. I know this one is kind of an iffy project, if I'm remembering correctly. ZBCN. And crypto. Let's see. Let's take a look at it on Bybit, I guess. I have not I don't remember which exchange I had looked at it before. It's in a massive downtrend. It did get a nice little bounce off of the bottoming there, where we had very, very equal bottomings. Pretty sure I've looked at it on some other one before. ZBCN. Was it on MEXC? Nope. I know I have a chart somewhere with this. Blowfin? Nope, not on that one. ZBEC. I know I had some charting done on this. Maybe this one? Nope. I guess all of them. Just naked charts all over again. Let's kind of get a Fibonacci extension drawn out here in our... Oh, no, wrong one. Fibonacci extension. There we go. From our lows to the high, to the low here. And we're looking to try to turn that 236 into some strong support. Let's zoom that on in to our hourly. And as you can kind of see here, we are breaking above that 236. Your prime oscillator is moving a bit sideways here, and you do have some divergences stacked up. Volume is looking quite steady here on ZBEC though. And that 1 hour, your MACD is getting a bit of some curvature as we break above that 0 line though. So looking to really turn this 236 into some strong support. You do have a bit of a range here above that 236 with that 382, which we might be bouncing around again all over. You did see a lot of bouncing around from that 236 to the 382 and back down to the 236 and back up to the 382 before we really lost that 236. So to see us do that kind of in the opposite on ZBEC would be a move to see, unless you can see some crazy money flow coming on in here and get back up to that 50% fib line on our extension there. Let's see what we're seeing on some Pepe. I know I've got that one on my list. Let's scroll on down to Pepe. Sitting in that 20 to 25 range on that list. We've got our hourly looking like you might be getting a bit toppy here. Zoom that on out to our daily look and see where we're sitting. Daily does look like it has some potential, if you can see some money flow coming in with some strength, to really find our way back up to this 0.00000081244. That'd be that first kind of area we need to get above for Pepe. This was a more macro trend, macro support line I was looking at from that bounce back here. We really got all of that move back up to the top side. We are breaking below our fib retracement there, so it doesn't look overwhelmingly positive here, but we could, if we get back into this and turn this first little area into some support, find our way back up to the platinum pocket. Pepe looking a little bit ugly there, but it does have some potential for some bouncing action to the top side. Would really need probably a third reversal signal to kind of flash here on that daily term time frame though. That'd be that first little move indication that I would be seeing a move to the upside. If your Bitcoin's going to continue to bleed just a little bit, Pepe's probably going to bleed just a little bit more. You do have that hourly looking like you are seeing that topping out here as we try to get back into our fib retracement. As you can see here, we got that brief wick above it and really seeing that curvature back to the downside on our MACD. and prime oscillator as well. Looking at that 15-minute and the morning, looks like you're seeing that rejection off of the top side of our fib extension there, or our fib retracement there. So maybe making a more macro, a more lower high on the macro, and continuing to make some lower lows as well. We have Pepe. Let's take a look at Ondo. That was requested as well. Ondo. Let's scroll on down, find it on the list. There we go. It was right below that one. Sitting below the platinum pocket on Ondo as well. Looking for some strength on our short-term time frame. We are getting some nice volume coming on in. Let's scroll this on out to that daily look. See what we're seeing there. We did reject off of our golden pocket and broke below one of those key areas I was looking to hold into as some support. You do have that daily looking like it might have a little bit of continuation to the downside, kind of like Bitcoin was looking like. We do have a brief little area where we see some equal candle bodies right below us. Looks like we already got a brief little bounce off of that here at 82 cents. That'd be that first little area I would kind of look at holding as some strong support here on the high term time frames and get that move back to the upside. You do have that platinum pocket, which would be that next little area we need to turn back into some support here. That's that 92-cent point. Let's kind of see what the shorter term time frames are showing us. We have this hourly chart looking like it's got a little bit more room to run than some of those other projects we had taken a look at. The prime oscillator is not as toppy here as it is getting that strong volume here as we try to push back up to that platinum pocket. Your MACD doesn't look as overheated as some of the others either. It is getting curvature back to the top side instead of getting some curvature back down to the bottom side there. Very, very strong green candles looking to make some higher lows on that MACD as well. So looking like it's a little bit positive here to kind of make that move back up to the platinum pocket. Would look at that platinum pocket area being a little bit of an area where we do some battle. 15-minute does look like you have some continued room to run to the top side for the morning, breaking very strongly away from this indicator line and your prime oscillator just flipping back to the green as our volume is starting to be some very strong buying volume here. Looking for that platinum pocket all over again and try to get back up to probably the highs of this range where we did some bouncing off of the top side of that platinum pocket. About 98 cents there where you might see some arranging action. Would need to turn that into some support on about the hourly before we really get back up to these key levels of $1.08. Turn that into some support on a higher term time frame. So seeing that platinum pocket be turned into some support, and then again this 98-cent point would be that next kind of little launching off point for Ondo. Definitely have a bit of some resistance above us though. That would be that $1.08. If we get that strong continued money flow coming in all the way onto that 4-hour chart. We had IP. We did have IP requested as well. Let's take a look at that. I know I had it on my list. There it is. IP showing a little bit of some strength here as it does get back above this 50% line on my retracement that I had pulled up. Let's zoom this on out to that daily look. As you can kind of see here, we are pulling back up above that 50% fib on my retracement, looking to kind of get back up to that 382 where we saw a bit of some rejections. Let me hide this fib extension because I'm not looking for the locals. I'm looking for more of the macros there. We are looking to make another higher a higher low. As you can see, higher low than this, higher low than this, looking to continue that trend to the upside there. Looking for that positive money flow to kind of come in. This is that daily view, so you don't have a whole lot of data as it is a newer project. Let's zoom that on into the 4 hour and see what we're looking at. You have a money flow kind of rolling back over here on the 4 hour. Volume is trying to maintain some of this buying volume on our higher term time frame. Prime oscillator looking a little bit toppy, but like it's got a little bit of some continuation to the upside before you really see that move back down. We do have that 1 hour also looking a little bit toppy there, but money flow sitting at that point where it could very, very easily switch that trend back up to the upside. Prime oscillator looking like it's got that curvature here as you're waiting on your money flow to kind of switch back over. Volumes holding quite steady as some buying volume, but your money flow looks like it might do a brief move back into that selling pressure. That's kind of what we need to look for on our shorter term time frames, is that money flow to come back in with some strength, looking like we're trying to maintain this 50% line on our fib retracement as some strong support. We did break above it with some strong movement, so to come back down and test it on that higher term time frame would be a move to see, especially since we didn't do that on that hourly chart. 15-minute also looking like you've got a bit of some continued room to run to the upside. We are making some lower highs and lower lows here, so looking for that strong bounce off of some lower levels would be a move to see. You do have that MACD line breaking off of that indicator line with our first green candle here after we ranged down to the bottom side. So looking for that volume to kind of switch over to some buying volume here on our short-term time frame and have that money flow bleed over into the higher term time frame. Someone saying Bitcoin pushing to the upside. Yep, definitely looking like it's making a little bit of a push to the upside. Kind of seeing if we can break the local resistance here of this range, which we're testing at right now. We do have a bit of some liquidity to the top side of us that I've been talking about potentially grabbing. Shorter term time frames looking a little bit toppy there. Hourly looking like you did have that opportunity to run to the upside. I had talked about this morning. Let's see where that liquidity was residing on that liquidation heat map before we really wind that show down and send you over to Alex O Crypto. Looks like we're making a brief move to that top side liquidity that I had been talking about at the 84,300 mark, ranging all the way up to 84,500. We do have another brief hotspot above that I had talked about at the beginning of the show, which was 85,400, about 85,500. So those are those two brief hotspots to the top side, which could very easily grab before we potentially close out that CME gap to the bottom side. All right. Thank you for everyone that tuned in today. I appreciate every single one of you for showing up, participating in the chat, getting me all riled up sometimes like Username does with those memes. Having some fun and getting our morning started properly. I hope y'all tune in to the rest of the shows here on Piper Academy. We've got the morning market report. Piper will be back this week, so make sure to tune on in. He will break down some of that data that we're going to be seeing this week, because it's a doozy of a week for data drops. We do have the Trade Academy at 4 p.m. Eastern Time with Trade Intuition, a great spot to learn some TA or just to have some fun and talk about the chartery that you're doing. We also have the Markets After Dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to tune in to that one as well. He does some great work. I love that man's breakdowns of some of our Elliott wave theories. So always a great place to learn as well. I will see y'all in the Alexo Crypto chat in just a second. Make sure to drop those graduation caps when you get on over there. Other than that, make sure to wake up because today's going to be a good day.